this song was made specifically for you. I hold no grudge, I pull no punch, because you are such a fucking scrub. In this song you will know why you wrestle yourself so late at night. And we all know you're dead and touched you, but that's okay, cause mommy did too, because you hey.
Hopefully nobody tries to flag this down tonight and tries to stop my stream. But in about 45 minutes, prepare to hear the DieHard Truth, the TPP Podcast, Episode 3. Just for those of you that are wondering what this song is that you're hearing, this is my rendition of Every Day is Exactly the Same in B standard, which is the standard tuning for a 7-string guitar. I made this especially for Mr. Nick Virtue, compared to my first mix of Every Day is Exactly the Same. So this is my second recording of Every Day is Exactly the Same. No piano, drums, guitar, bass only. Some of you may know this song as Forgot About Dre. Well, this is the DieHard rendition. Now, I don't expect any of you to know this one. This one's called The Trenches, and I wrote this in 2007, 2006, something like that. I don't know, it was a long time ago. So, the recording is, I think, recorded in 2009 and 2008. So it's kind of old, but, yeah, gets the job done. Some of you may know this man. The best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. Bret Hart. This is my cover. Some of you may recognize this theme song, but it's going to date back a little bit. But I love this version of this wrestler's theme song. He goes by the name of the couple of nicknames: the Brahma Bull, the People's Champ, the People's Chump, the Corporate Rock, the Rock, the Great One. This was a cover of his theme, right? Technically, it's the If You Smell, with a little bit of a DieHard touch to it. Some of you might recognize this. They call this Metallica, For Whom the Bell Tolls, which really does give a good reason for tonight. And we're going to be beginning in about 22 minutes, and the podcast will begin. So just sit tight, enjoy. Yeah, I know I forgot this middle solo. That's okay. This will make up for it. I remember when I did my video on how to play the Take My Scars riff, which is by a band called Machine Head from the album The More Things Change in 1997. This riff is just badass, but I'm not going to make you guys listen to the 4-minute loop. Some of you may recognize this one. The Nexus. They use this. We Are One. And for those that like the rap side of things, I did a cover of D12 and Eminem, the song Girls, that Limp Bizkit diss. And that's really fitting too for tonight's kind of feeling, vibe. And so I hope you guys enjoy my instrumental here. We're in the final 8-minute countdown here. And, you know, like I said, the songs tonight are definitely setting the tone. Except for the Pac-Man thing. Yeah. So we've got 7 minutes before we begin. So, here we go.
song was made specifically for you. I hold no grudge, I pull no punch, because you are such a fucking scrub. In this song you will know why you wrestle yourself so late at night. And we all know you're dead, he touched you, but that's okay, cause mommy did too, because you suck.
What is up, streaming world? Now, some people like to do podcasts and little pre-recorded interviews that they can edit out and they can make changes to. However, that's just not how DieHard rolls. So tonight on the TPP podcast, I want you to really think about what I say. You don't even have to think about it. Just after tonight, I want you to realize not to cross paths with me in a negative light. It is the worst possible thing that you could do. In any respect to real life gaming, whatever, Don't, and I repeat this so much, but don't say something behind somebody's back that you don't want, anybody else to know about. Because guess what? That person will find out. And when they do find out, that's usually when problems start to happen. Now, let's get this podcast going, okay? But one thing I want everybody to, keep this in mind, the tone of tonight's podcast. Now, of course, we're going to have a beautiful 60-minute Iron Man match, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, completely simmed between the computer. We're going to see who would really win. But recently, there's been some stuff going on in the CAW community. Now, far be it from me to point fingers or anything like that. And that's what tonight's podcast is about. Now, I normally don't try to get involved in this, and I hope you guys like the new overlays that I have. Pointing the finger, DieHard pointing the finger saying, I'll say this. And like I said, I hope you guys enjoy tonight's podcast. It's going to be probably offensive to some people. I mean, some people may be angry at me after this, more angry than they may already be right now. And so we're going to cover a few different things on this podcast. And so while I say this, let's get this. Wow, my TV. I'm sorry about that. My TV was up really loud. I'm very sorry about that. But so let's get this all underway. So first and foremost, of course, everybody wants to know, what happened with NGC, right? That was the talk of the, that was the talk this past week. That's what everybody was worried about. They were like, oh my God, what's going to happen? What's going to happen to this, this place, this conglomerate, or whatever the F they think they were. Anyways, so moral of the story, okay, FAM came in and took over, right? So we were all like, oh, well, that wasn't even the worst part about it, okay? That was not the worst part. And this is going to lead me in my first topic here. So at the beginning of the show, BH came out, okay, and he cut this promo. And about 7 minutes in, at the 7-minute mark, he directed his attention toward AC Arthurs. And that's unfortunate, because I personally worked with AC Arthurs in the power plant a couple of years ago. And so I was hoping that I was incorrect in my assumption, but I wasn't, unfortunately. I was right. But so he basically said that AC Arthurs was a piece of shit. Well, what I did, I simply stated a few things that were obvious, okay? If you're going to come out onto a CAW League show and say, horrible things about other people, or if you're going to make a huge announcement like that you're acquiring another league or a fed, then when you do that, you want to look professional, right? Especially if your whole idea of your promo, your voiceover, was to upstage the competition, and that was the idea of it, right? The FAM was ideally saying they were better than NGC. So why the fuck did I'm going to drop F-bombs, S-bombs, D-bombs, all kinds of bombs tonight, because that's what the kids want to hear. But why would you come out for your promo in your wrestling attire? I mean, let's get real here, man. I mean, if I was coming out and I had acquired another league, I sure in the hell would not come out wearing my wrestling attire. I would come out wearing a suit, a nice Armani suit, and being like, look, I am 100 times better than you guys. Look at this suit I'm wearing, compared to whoever, whatever. That's what I would have done. That's what anybody would have done if they had acquired a league or a fed. But then, as soon as that happened, Sean Nova, right? That's his name. Nova, Sean Nova, I think. I think that's his name. I don't know. But anyways, he said that it was all it was all a work. The whole promo was a work, and it was all scripted. So, what I take from that is Rambo Panda, the guy that owned NGC, right? The guy that was running NGC, okayed the complete belittling of people like AC Arthurs, Scott Barnett, who wrestled in the power plant as John Russell's, Verdi, Monroe, and I don't even like Monroe, Nick Virtue, other people that I'm not, Frankie Flo, people I'm not even mentioning, but so they're saying that Rambo Panda okayed all that. Rambo Panda sat there. He said, "You're telling me he sat there in a Skype conversation with them and said, yeah, you know what? It's okay. Call AC Arthur's a piece of shit. He won't care. Completely belittle him. He won't care. He won't care." Right? That was the conversation that happened. You were just kind of like, yeah, they won't mind. They won't mind. They'll be okay with it. Well, unfortunately, a lot of them weren't, and a lot of your fans, your viewers, were not okay with that. And and I wasn't even a viewer of NGC. I'm not even gonna lie. I tried to watch the show. I watched AC Arthur's win the NGC title. I'm not even gonna deny that. I watched the Arthurs and Barnett match, because I worked with them before. So I knew what they were both capable of, and I just wanted to see what they would do, they both did phenomenal in both of their matches. All of the matches that they were in, they were very good. And so, yeah, I mean, I tried. I usually just muted it. I'm sorry, nothing against Maxwell Verdi, but I couldn't stand Rambo Panda's commentary, man. I'm sorry. So that's why on my first podcast when you were on here wanting me to talk up Chaz Weber, I'm sorry, but I couldn't, because I did watch the EWE show. I did like your commentary, but I was also a little busy and preoccupied at the time when I was watching it, so I wasn't completely focusing, on your commentary. And if I'm going to judge somebody's commentary, I want to be able to have full focus on it. And I wasn't able to do that with NGC because I just couldn't stand Rambo Panda's voice. So, anyways, what I did, right, I posted that comment saying, don't belittle AC Arthurs. And I said, if you're going to, and this was my base comment. I said, at 7 minutes, did you really just rip into AC Arthurs and call him a piece of shit? And of course, I did this on the Frontline channel. I was posting as the Frontline channel, not as my DieHard channel, which I completely did that accidentally. I meant to do it on my DieHard channel. I didn't mean to fill up my Twitter feed with a whole bunch of that stuff on the Frontline stuff. But so I did that, and I said that BH has broken ass English, and I think everybody will agree with me that his English sounds so bad. It's like, in all honesty, anybody could have cut that promo and it would have been better. Even Ron Buster. I can't stand that guy either. I cannot stand Ron Buster. But his voiceover wouldn't have been nearly as bad. I mean, at least I would have been able to understand Ron Buster more than I could understand BH. Preferably, maybe OTP. I'm not a fan of OTP either. I'm sorry. Wrong use of my grammatical terms there. But him, maybe Sean Nova, just somebody that had a better perception of the English language, and doing it normally. And then, so after I said that, BH responded, said that his broken English got him a part, or what was it? He's a regional director, right, for Machinima. Which, congrats to you, guy. Congrats to you, regional manager. You see over an entire region of foreign-speaking people. Congrats. Congrats on being a region manager of one of the worst networks on YouTube from 2012 to 2013. Congrats to that, though. Hey, when they were all renegotiating contracts, I'm sure that you enjoyed every time you had to tell somebody that their contract had to be renegotiated. I'm sure you enjoyed that. So then, after his, I blocked BH. I'm not gonna lie, I blocked him. I have nothing to say to him. I think he's actually though, what we're gonna do here, real quick, I'm gonna pause this, okay? Because we all want to see the match, right? That's what we all want to see. But there's something very nice that I want to show y'all. Okay, so everybody always wonders this about BH. I'm going to do this as we go through the topics. So everybody wonders what BH looks like, right? Because in every picture he's got a picture obscuring his view. You know, you can't see his full face. You can see the shape, but you cannot see his face. So I had an anonymous source submit this to me. Now this anonymous source has asked me to, keep them, anonymous, and I'm going to do that. I'm not going to let it out who it is, because that anonymous source also gave me another piece of material that I'm going to show you in just a few minutes. So right now we're on the fam stuff, right? So anyways, I knew I should have got a drum roll effect. I really should have. But okay, so here we go. So this guy right here, that face that you're seeing right there on your screen, that is BH. And yeah, the dude, he definitely looks like he's got some little muscles. He's got some muscles going on. But that face, I tell you what, BH, you win. Okay, you win. That face right there is one of the scariest faces I have ever seen in my life. Now I know why your car wears face paint. I know why now. I know why you hide behind a mask. Now I think people realize why you hide in your cameras, in your pictures. I think we all know why now. Because of that face. That face is like, if there was a brick wall in front of you, you smacked right into it. When you were born, okay? And you just lived the rest of your life after that. That is what you did. That face, my God, I can't even look at it no more. I can't do it, guys. I'm sorry. I tried. I really, really tried. I can't do it. It's upsetting me. And, I don't want to be upset. I don't like being upset. So then, this is going to lead, this is a good, I've been waiting for this one because I was actually wrong, right? So let's talk about Rombuster, right? Because BH, yeah, okay, he's one ugly motherfucker. No doubt about that, right? So we're going to go into Rombuster, the guy that came to me and asked me to come to FAM in 2011. Not the other way around. What happened was I sent Rombuster a message when all that stuff was going on, the whole AWOL thing or whatever with 2TM. I was like, hey, look, if you need an extra helping hand or something, just let me know. Whatever, I'll help you out. He interpreted that as I wanted to be on the roster. That's what I'm assuming, that I wanted to be on his roster. I didn't. That was never my intention. I never wanted to be a part of FAM. It's never my intention. Well, so then, somehow I got put on. He sent me a message on the PS3. He's like, oh yeah, all the guys at FAM are like, yeah, cool, we want you. So, anyways, I got put in the FAM, right? Well, they did their first match card and stuff, and I didn't have my PS3 at the time. So they made. I told Rom that I would send him the formula for how to make DieHard the right way. Well, I guess Rombuster made it because he said that it was his car in the Skype conversation or whatever. But so he made it orange and black and some weird looking shape. Wrong face shape, wrong beard, wrong tattoos, wrong everything. And I made a video called it Fama Fake. Well, this whole time, and this is the tricky part, right? This whole time, guys, I honestly thought, and this is where it gets good. This is where I paused it again. This whole time, I honestly thought that Rombuster was a very skinny guy. Like, everybody that has seen, like, the TPP 2K channel videos, they've seen, like, if they saw the intro video thing we did for why they should subscribe to the channel, you can clearly see I'm a very skinny guy. I have a full channel dedicated to just videos of me. You can see I'm a skinny guy. I'm a pretty skinny guy. And I always thought that Rombuster was skinny. He just had a awkward sounding voice. Boy, was I wrong. Okay. So, my anonymous source, again, submitted, he gave me a link to this video. And this is undoubtable video footage of Rombuster, in real life. This is what Rombuster looks like in IRL, in real life, right? So are you ready for this? Because I think this was big. This was like the highlight of my night when I found this. I was like, oh my God. I was like, I can have so much fun with this. So here we go. Okay, so it's on the black screen now. Okay, so it's only about 45 seconds long. So you gotta, it's not too long, but you can clearly tell who is Rombuster and who is not. I'm assuming that other person in the video was, I don't know, his boyfriend or something. So here we go. Yes, Kurt Parsons for Prom King. It's a long-ass intro.
So, who are you voting for? Huh? Oh! No. You better vote for Parsons. All right.
You better vote for Kurt Parsons for Prom King tonight. Yeah!
Now, for those of you that don't know, Kurt Parsons, that's Ron Buster, right? And I say this, like I said, I always thought he was skinny. I always thought the guy was a skinny guy. He's a heavyset guy. And yeah, the video, you can't doubt any of that. Okay, I don't care if you flag this, you know, after it goes up on YouTube. Flag it all you want, but you know I'm right, because that is Ron Buster right there. And I think it's actually kind of funny. I don't see a whole lot of, you know, footage of like Ron Buster and BH, like actual footage, you know. And that's the thing. A lot of the people in the games community, they hide behind their game. They don't ever put their face out there. So, okay. So hold on a second. Let me just fix this real quick. Okay. So now we can resume the match. And you know, I don't know. My video's kind of lagging, I guess, on my capture card. I don't know. I've had it running for like 4 hours now, so maybe that's why. I don't know. But so okay. So I got the Ron Buster stuff out. I got the BH stuff out. So then I was done, right? I was getting ready to leave the video. You know, never come back, whatever, and be done with it. Well, unfortunately, some dumbass. I don't even remember. It was like LOL dislikes it. Yeah, LOL dislike 69. He decides to start opening his mouth and start trying to talk shit. So I was kind of like, okay, what the hell's going on here? So then this guy, you know, of course, when he realized that his insults towards me, you know, weren't gaining him any momentum, it wasn't really, you know, phasing me or doing anything to me. It wasn't getting the response he wanted. And you know, of course, he was like, he's like, well, why don't you post your address? And like a dumbass, you know, he just kept trying to antagonize. So like being the smartest that I can be, I was simply like, look, anybody with half a brain can go onto my Twitter and see that I'm from Holland, Michigan. Anybody with half a brain would Google Anthony Guerrero, which is my real legal name, that, you know, from Holland, Michigan. And the first page of Google, the first like 2 pages, almost gives you like the pinpoint address of where I live, down to, you know, what my living room walls look like. So I was just kind of like, you know, whatever. If he wants to find me, go ahead. But I did give him fair warning. If he was to show up at my door, I would beat him within I would probably kill him if he tried to step foot in my house, to be honest. I mean, I'm just being honest. If somebody comes to my house and says, well, I'm from WWE, I'm going to fucking, I'm just going to murder them. Because I'd be like, seriously? I would definitely beat him within an inch of his life. I might not kill him because I don't know if the scrubbies would be worth going to prison over. But, yeah, so I would do that. I definitely would. And so then he started busting out these insults towards my wife Melinda. And, you know, he said I was old and bald, and DieHard's not old. I mean, I'm 25. I'm not that old. And just in case you ever see this, what was it, LOL dislike? Yeah. If you ever see this, just remember your hero's BH. I think he's like, what, 27 or 28, something like that. And 2TM is 27, I believe, or 28 as well. Maybe older. So I'm definitely not the oldest guy in the WWE community. Yes, my character is aged at being in his 40s. But that's because I aged DieHard. I'm not afraid to age my characters. I'm not going to have my character be 20 years old for the rest of my life. I'm sorry. But, so we kind of moved to the second part, you know, because, I mean, yeah, he got a little bit of a rise out of trying to, you know, poke fun at, you know, at my wife, saying the things he said about my wife. And the word of advice here is, never ever say that you were going to rape my wife or that you're going to do this or that to my wife, because God rest your soul if I ever meet you in person or if you ever see me on the street, because I will most definitely, especially if I know it's you and I knew that you were talking shit like that. Yeah, I mean, there's some people that I'll let them go with just like a smack in the face and call them a little bitch, but not when you start talking about my wife. You know, because first off, you know nothing about her. You have no idea who she is, what type of person she is. I'm sorry that I don't have to pay people to voice over female parts for my show. If I need a female voiceover, I go to my wife and I say, baby, I need you to do this voiceover. She gets nervous as hell when she does it, no doubt about it. And you can usually tell when she's doing her promo. She's very nervous, you know, because she does not, she doesn't like hearing her voice played back, you know, and so, you know, it's just things like that. But, again, you know nothing about my wife, nothing at all. Don't insist that you do, don't insist that you don't, just like with my son. My son is 6 years old. Yes, we portray his character as being, I think, 22 or 23 on the show. And that's because, you know, DieHard is in his 40s. I wouldn't want DieHard the wrestler, the retired wrestler, to have a son that's 6. You know, that'd just be weird. And so yeah, so we aged Junior in the game. We changed his actual date of birth. He was actually born in 2006, not 1993. So that's where that is. Okay, so maybe he's 20 then. Yeah, I guess he'd be 20. Maybe I said he was born in 91. I don't remember exactly what I said for Junior. You know, whatever. It's a fictional representation of what a younger DieHard would have been, and I really don't know why my capture card is going so slow. And as you saw there, Bret Hart got the first pinfall. But so anyways, so yeah, don't go on to videos and start talking shit about my wife. If you want to talk shit about me, go ahead. Say whatever you want to try to say about me. I've got thick skin when it comes to me. But do not talk about my family. Don't talk about my wife. Don't talk about my son. You know, anything in that relation. You want to say I boost views? I'm sorry. I'm not too poor to afford Google AdWords for videos. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you are. I'm sorry. I mean, actually, I'm not sorry because I don't really give a fuck. I mean, it's just the way it is. So now I'm going to start directing my attention at some other people that I never really thought I'd direct my attention at, right? I never thought I'd direct my attention this way because I always try to keep, I try to be friendly even with people that I may not associate with or talk to on a daily basis, a monthly basis, or even a yearly basis, or even ever. I try to be friendly, right? I try to let everybody have an opinion, except for sometimes their opinions become very skewed and incorrect. So this little part right here, Devin Surefire. Yeah, that song, you're a bitch. Sitting there, you know, you posted a comment on the NGC thing saying that you all got slapped in the face, right? Because you were in NGC. Congratulations. So you were on there and you said, you know, you all got slapped in the face. And ironically, I agreed with them. I was like, you know, I don't usually agree with people I don't talk to, but I agree. Well, then you decided to go on Twitter and say, oh, well, you're not even important. DieHard. You do realize that I was working with people like Blaze and Arthurs and Monroe and Virtue and all these other people before. Like, when you were still a little tryhard, you were considered a tryhard bitch. That's what you were considered by those same people. You know, so I'm just saying. You were called some tryhard fucker. And I was gaming with those people. They were on my show. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm best friends with any of them. I'm definitely not, unfortunately. Actually, no, that's not an unfortunate circumstance for me. That's actually a good thing. Because then I'm able to say what I gotta say, and I don't have to worry about the repercussions for it. You know, I don't have to be like, oh, well, we're not gonna be friends anymore. Because at this point, it doesn't matter. You know, I don't care if I offend somebody. Just the way it is. So, yeah, I mean, you just had you just let it go, you know, instead of trying to make a little snide, punk-ass teenager remark, I never would have said this. But no, you decided you wanted to open that hole you call a mouth and be like, oh, you're not even important. You don't matter. The fuck, dude? Get the fuck out of here. You're like, what, 15, 16 years old? And I talked about this with Ron on my last podcast. I've been playing these games since you guys were like in diapers. For anybody that's under the age of 20, yeah, I've been playing these games since either before you were born or you were in diapers. One way or the other. I mean, I look at it like this. My brother-in-law, James Braden, Melinda's brother, he was born in 1989, okay? He's the same age as my youngest sister. I have been playing games since before he could pick up a controller. I had been in the arcade, you know, so yeah, don't come at me with that bullshit. All right, brah? Okay. So now I got that off, and this is like a cleansing experience for me. This is making me feel really good, and that's good because when I feel good, I get very productive. So we're getting there. I mean, I'm already at 30 minutes in, but it only says we're 15 minutes into the Rumble, or the Iron Man. But that's because I kept pausing it and playing the other stuff. But we are going to pause it again. So nobody's actually going to get to see the end of this Rumble, unfortunately. Or why do I keep saying Rumble? The end of this Iron Man match. I know why I keep saying Rumble. I really do. And so we're going to actually move into that. The last 30 minutes of this podcast, I'm not even going to lie, guys. The last 30 minutes of this is going to be an in-depth breakdown of what happened, you know, with TPP when it was on the TPP 2K channel. And I just want to clear the air. I'm going to air my grievances on this one because that's what I want to do. I want to air it, get it out there because for the past almost 8 months now, well, 7 months, I've been taking all the heat for it. All of it. All of the heat. There has been no blame placed on anybody except for me. Like, I'm the only person that got blamed. And I can understand why people wanted to blame me for this. The Breakdown Rumble match, okay? With as good of a CPV pay-per-view event as it was, yeah, it could have been better. Sure. It should have been. And there was things in it that shouldn't have happened the way that they happened. And the worst part is I gave the okay for those things to happen. And I never should have. I should have been like, no, it's not going down like that. You know, this is how it has to go down. So right now, you're going to get an inside look. After we see if Bret Hart taps out, or Shawn Michaels, no, he didn't tap out. Bret Hart's up. I think it's, I don't remember how to check. But, so Bret Hart's up. So what I'm going to do now, I'm actually going to remove that. This way it doesn't do that anymore. So now we move on to the second part, the second thing, or my final topic, right? And that is the Breakdown Rumble. Now, some of you that may have seen it are going to recognize the intro, right? It was the Breakdown Rumble. It was this, you know, the way we were doing the Rumble. So what happened leading up to the Rumble? That's the question, right? That is the question that was on everybody's mind is what happened, what caused the power plant to suffer such a monstrosity that it decided to shut down? What happened behind, you know, in these Skype calls? What happened in these Skype messages between DieHard and Samararo and the other TP? What happened, right? That was the question. What happened? And so now you're all going to find out right now. So on your left, of course, that's me, Christopher Billings. On your right, Tyson Sage, Zach Samararo, right? Detuned voice, makes him sound black, whatever, you know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause it in these intricate parts. Okay, so right here, it looks like we're on the same page, right? If you go back and watch the show on TPP2K, which you can, you know, I'm not saying you don't have to, you see that we're sounding like we're on the same page. Even in the commentary, we sounded, up until about halfway through the show, we sounded like we're on the same page. Because to be honest, I was already agitated. Like, I was already agitated with the way that the things turned out on the pay-per-view. Because the way that we did everything, we did the tag team title match, not the first qualifier, the tag team title match. We did that last, okay? That was the last match we recorded. The match before that was the TPP title match. And then we did the preliminary tag team title match where it was the one team will go on to compete for the titles. That was Landon Sane and what's-his-face against Junior and Suicide Kid, right? Jamie Hall. So I was like, okay, I was like, we can make this work. You know, we can do this. I was already agitated because of everything that had happened. I'm going to get to that. So before we go any further, though, we have to go back in time. So we're going to take a trip back. Episode 49, right? The relaunch of the power plant. Everybody was in these qualifier matches for a chance to continue on to fight for the TPP title at Over the Limit in December. Well, the way we had originally scheduled this, okay, Samararo was to lose on episode 49. He was to lose to Sabbath. That's who he was going to lose to. He was going to lose to Sabbath. It was going to be Sabbath versus Craig Hazard at Over the Limit TPP title match. Excuse me. But it didn't happen like that. And you might be going, well, why not? I'll tell you why. Because literally, I think it was like 15, 20 minutes before the match, right? Samararo came to me, and he said, well, what if we did this for a storyline instead? The storyline would take Sabbath and have Sabbath lose. So, and Sabbath, I'm going to say it like this. Okay, Sinister Smiles, or Suey, as some people may know him. And if you're in the power plant, you know him as Suey. James, Levi, whatever you want to call him. He is one of the coolest guys you're ever going to meet because he does what he's got to do for the show. If it makes sense for him to lose, then he's going to lose. If I tell him to jump, he's going to say, how high, DieHard? If I say, beat this dude's ass, he's going to say, how hard, DieHard? That's what he does. So if you want to call Jamie Hall, if you want to call Jamie Hall a yes man, if you want to call Suey a yes man, if you want to call Sinister Smiles a yes man, then I am damn proud that he is my yes man. Seriously. Because that guy will do everything in his power to make sure that the show continues on, to make sure that the show's got flow to it. It's just the way it is. So he agreed, okay, right? Suey agreed to lose to Semi. He was like, okay, I'll lose to Semi, and we'll figure a different path for me. And Semi came up with this intricate storyline, of he was going to hold the title all the way through WrestleMania, right? He was going to lose it for 1 month and then get it back and then hold the title until the following game, which would have been WWE 2K14. Well, unfortunately, there was a problem with that. That would make him like a year-long champ, right? No, he didn't want anybody else to beat him. He did not want to lose. Now, at the time, when he was giving me all these ideas, I wasn't like pulling the brakes on him. I was like, oh, this isn't too bad of an idea, this and that and this and that. This could really work. So while everybody else was wondering what the fuck I was thinking, I had Samararo in my ear going, well, Tony, if we do this, DieHard, if we do this, if we do this, if we do this, if you bring me on board, if we do this, then this will all work out, right? And me trying to be understanding and considerate of everybody. I thought I was being considerate of everybody in the power plant, but I kind of had that same tunnel vision that Samararo had. Because I saw this storyline that he was trying to envelop and that he was trying to build, and what I did was I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this. We're going to roll with this storyline. And meanwhile, Jordan, some of you may know Jordan or not, Mr. Pac-Man used to make videos on the TPP 2K channel. Jordan and Monroe, okay, Alexander Monroe, everybody's favorite, whatever, they wanted to do this package thing, right? Neither of them were going to be in a title match at Over the Limit. So I was like, okay, well, we can make this work. So kind of wrote him off, we kept putting Monroe against jobbers because we were trying to build up the Monroe type situation. Even after Over the Limit, he was still being fed jobbers. He wasn't ever fed an actual opponent. I think the longest match we had Monroe in was back on SmackDown vs. Raw 2011 when we had him fight Suicide Kid. That was his longest match. We always fed Monroe jobbers. And, that was just the way it is. With Jordan, Jordan was working a lot at the time, so we weren't able to get a lot of the Jordan matches done. So we had to do these kind of backstage segments, and we did these backstage brawl scenes and stuff between Monroe and Moore, and they were all right. I mean, they were good filler, but when it came down to it, at Over the Limit, the people that you saw play as Jordan Moore and Alexander Monroe, were not the actual handlers of those cause. It was I was playing as Monroe, and Semi was playing as Jordan. A poorly remade Jordan, by the way. I'm not good at remaking people's cause, and I didn't have his cause anymore, or I couldn't upload it. So I had to try to remake it. So I tried to remake his cause the best I could, and so, you know, that's how we did it. Well, me and Semiraro did the match, okay, for Over the Limit. We did the Monroe versus Jordan match, the Falls Count Anywhere thing, the whole hardcore shenanigans, whatever. Well, then Semiraro was like, well, what do you want to do for the TPP title match, you know, because it was Semiraro, Craig Hazard. And I was like, well, I think we should let Craig win. And Semiraro says, I agree, right? We were in a and anybody that was in the power plant at this time that was in that party, and they will remember this party because Semiraro said, we have to do what's right for business, right? That's what he said. We have to do what's right for business. That's what he said in that party that day. And I said, I think that we should have Craig Hazard win because the kid has never been given a big title opportunity, and even if he was, we've asked him to lose. I was like, and I don't think that's fair to him because he's been the one guy that stuck by me through thick and thin. You know, he's always been there. He's never said a goddamn bad thing about me. Not one time. And he's had plenty of opportunities to say things. And he never has. He's always been that friend. And Semiraro sat there and he said, I agree with you. I agree with you. That is what he said. He said, I agree with you that Craig Hazard should win the TPP title. Well, who won the TPP title at Over the Limit? Zach Semiraro. Why is that? Why is that? I know why. Because Zach Semiraro wanted to be a prick. He wanted to keep the show all about him. Because he knew that if he didn't win it Over the Limit, then his storyline would have to change. He wouldn't be able to be this whole anti the Fed head guy. You know, he'd have to either win the Rumble or else win the title at Breakdown, right? That was his thing. He would have to do one of those two. Those were his only options. He didn't have a choice. He had to do one of those two things. He wanted the TPP title. Now, in the party, and when we were recording the match, okay, we're sitting there. Beautiful. It was a beautiful match. Hazard did phenomenal, like always. Phenomenal. Nobody can say any different. If they ever call him a mid-carder again, I will rip your fucking throat out. He's not a mid-card. That kid has been main event material since he stepped foot into the power plant. No doubt about it. That's why him and John Russell's, when we were doing the Styles and DieHard storyline in 2011, that's why they were consistently in the main event, right? Because John Russell's and Craig Hazard mid-carders. No, they were both main eventers. So Scott Barnett, yeah, I've been seeing him do that shit since fucking like the beginning of 2011. Back in 5-Star Championship Wrestling when me and Nash were running it. And then when FSCW stopped, you know, I was like, hey, look, I don't want to lose you guys, so you want to come over to TPP. Guess what? They both came. And we even got some other people in, too. So back to Over the Limit. So we had a time limit set on the match for 30 minutes, I believe, or 20 minutes or something like that, 25 minutes, 30 minutes, something. I don't remember the exact timer that we set because we hit it with the logo in the corner. So the match was winding down, right? There was, like, I think maybe 5 minutes left. And I said, Hazard, you can go ahead, hit your finisher, and end it, right? That's what I said. That's what I said that in the party. It was the three of us in the party. I said, you can go ahead, hit your finisher, become the TPP champ. Well, he hits the vertebreaker, right? He had hit, like, I think 3 or 4 different vertebreakers in the match. He hit his third one, and then he goes to pin Semi. Semi kicked out. A legit 2-count kick out, no doubt about it. Legit 2-count. But he still kicked out. At that point, I knew what Semi was going for. And then Semi went over to the corner, and he wound time down. That's what he did. He made sure that he had a finisher. You know, he made sure he had one finisher, just enough time to pin. Because literally, the match ended with like 2 seconds left. I remember because we were laughing about it. There was literally 2 seconds left on the timer before the match would have said it was a draw. He made sure that he had one finisher and that Craig Hazard would not have enough time to hit his finisher again and then go for the pin, which he kept on the offense that entire final 5 minutes. It was all Zach Semiraro on the offensive there. So then everybody's like, okay, well, what's the big deal with him winning the title? This is where the plot thickens. When Semiraro was given the TPP title, and this next stuff I'm going to say, Aaron, if you ever see this dude, it's nothing against you. I never had a problem with you. I never did. You know, whether people want to believe that or not. I mean, yeah, sometimes you got on my nerves, dude, but I'm sure I got on your nerves too. So I don't have a problem with Aaron Matthews. I like Aaron Matthews. I think he's a cool kid, and I'm glad that he's pursuing his dream to be a real professional wrestler. And I've seen those pictures of his chest and shit, and man, in that sense, I wouldn't do that. I couldn't. So I hope someday when I'm watching wrestling, I see this kid named Aaron Matthews on there. You know, I really do. But so at the time, Samurai became the champ. Well, we had this influx of people that were applying, right? And so we had a roundtable discussion. We said we're going to start up developmental. So Phoenix Nitro came to me and said that he would run developmental. He said he'd record it and all this good stuff. So we did all these developmental things. You know, like we made this whole category for developmental. We did all these things. Well, then we had like I think it was Brother Cafro. I know it was that boy Claus. I know that because I know for a fact Semiraro stiffed the fuck out of Claus in his tryout. He stiffed him so bad. He did it to Cafro too. I believe Cafro had a tryout. I'm not 100. I can't remember 100%. Forgive me because I'm such an old guy. But so he stiffed the fuck out of him, right? And I knew he didn't like. I knew he didn't like Claus because Claus is a young guy, right? And you know. That's unfortunate because Claus is a really good player. So he threw Claus down into developmental. That's where we were putting people that we didn't necessarily want to work with. Now, if everybody that got tried out or that came into the power plant, there was only one person, okay? One person that I put into developmental that I didn't actually like, and that was Detchen. I'm sorry, but I just didn't want to have this kid debut and automatically put into the main event because he was a former ROV champ. I don't like him. It is what it is, right? So we keep going through these. I keep going through these past events, and you're going, well, what does this have to do with Breakdown? It has everything to do with Breakdown. As we're doing this developmental thing, we're waiting on Nitro to put up a match card and start recording the little developmental shows and stuff. You know, which that never happened. He never did it, which I'm not mad about. You know, it's whatever. It's stressful sometimes. It really is. So then. Samiraro keeps changing his storyline. He keeps wanting this very anti the system storyline. That's what he wanted. That is what he wanted forever and always. He wanted to be the guy that rose above and, you know, was always anti this, anti that. So we were filling in the storyline. At this point in time, I was kind of like, I don't know, you know, I was kind of throwing up a yellow flag, like a caution flag. I wasn't outright saying no. But I was throwing up a flag saying, well, I think we should do something different. And Antonio Riviera, I just noticed this on the chat, but I've been playing these games since I was in diapers. Thank you, my brother. But anyways, so back to the topic at hand here. So Samiraro kept wanting to change his storyline. He didn't want to drop the title at Breakdown, right? Because I was like, look, you're gonna have to drop the title at Breakdown. I think you should drop it to Sabbath because we had already planned for the Rumble, right? The Rumble. This is where it all ties in. This is where everything ties in. The original setup for the Rumble, the final, what was it? The final four. It was the final four for the Rumble. We were gonna have Extreme be the first of the final four because Extreme won the Rumble the year before. So we were gonna have him come out at like 15, 16, make it to the final four, get eliminated by Monroe and Hazard. So we were going to have Jordan come out as number 27, or no, 28. So Jordan was going to be 28, Monroe was going to be 29, and Hazard was 30. So after Extreme got eliminated, Jordan was going to get eliminated by Monroe, right, in retribution for everything that happened at Over the Limit. And then it was going to be Craig Hazard versus Monroe. Now, it was a split decision because some people said that Monroe should have won, but some people in TPP at the time were saying that Hazard should win the Rumble. So I was like, well, what we'll do, I flipped coins. You know, we took little, like, side poll things of people, like the TPP guys. I was taking side polls trying to find out who they thought should win more, who would make more sense to win. And it was literally split down the middle. It was literally split. Nobody wanted to see Monroe lose, and nobody wanted to see Hazard lose, because they knew Hazard had been waiting, and they knew, the build with Monroe was there from the jobber squashing, right? And we could have did something with Monroe after the Rumble that built him up into the WrestleMania deal. That was the original plan. So I came up with the plan. I was like, well, this is what we'll do. We'll get down to those last two, and I'll tell them, you guys decide who's going to win. Which I'm sure Monroe probably would have let Hazard eliminate him, right? But it would have been a hellacious back and forth. It would have been hellacious. It would have been probably the most amazing thing that, was ever seen. Because they would both be able to work together very, very well. Unfortunately, as we draw nearer and nearer to Breakdown, we started, aside from the developmental characters, we started seeing more characters like Lance Owens, right? Lance Owens is a jobber character. He's a filler. He's an enhancement talent. Right here you're seeing Lance Owens in a tables match against Saint, because we didn't have a storyline for Saint at the time. Okay, so that's what he was. But then we started seeing more. I got to skip around here a little bit. It goes a little bit slower. This was a match that bothered me at Breakdown. We had Craig Hazard fight Explicit. Okay, we had Craig Hazard fight Explicit for the International Championship. Not saying NGC stole our title name. I'm just saying we had it first. But so Craig Hazard lost to Explicit, right? And so we, at that point, I didn't agree with that. I thought if we had Craig Hazard beat Explicit, which would make sense, that would make logical sense, then we would have Monroe win the Rumble, because then Craig would still have a title around his waist, and maybe later on down the road we could do a double title match between Monroe and Hazard, right? That was a possible thought right here, because we kind of had to throw an audible. I thought that Craig Hazard was going to win against Explicit, but Samararo had a different plan, which every match here that you see had a different outcome than what was originally planned. The original planning for this matchup was Craig Hazard beating Explicit. But, of course, mid-match, Samararo called an audible, because at the time he was on the creative team. He was helping me book the matches. He helped me record the Rumble, to be honest. Like, my hop hug at the time was being, like, it was screen tearing and stuff, and so he was recording at the same time I was recording, and we were just mixing and matching. Okay, so Craig Hazard made Explicit look like a true champ here in this matchup. Like, legit, made him look like a champ. Well, then we come to this tag team, okay? Hold on a second, I got to backtrack it a little bit. Nope, too far. Almost. We're getting there. Okay, so I want you guys to take a good look at this right here. Okay, so when you look at this, now we're going from the far right to the left. Okay, so at your very far right, that was Jacob Keys. Okay, Jacob Keys was Explicit. That was Explicit's character. Landon Sane, who is next to him, his tag team partner, that was Samararo, the current tag, or they were to become they were the current tag team champs, right? Or they were becoming them, or whatever. Now to your left, Suicide Kid, that's Sinister Smiles, that's Suey, and then again to your very far left, that's Junior, that's another alternate character I use. Now at this point in time, both myself and Suey thought that what we had written down was that Junior and Suey were going to win the tag team titles, and then we were going to work Landon Sane into a singles competitor. Jacob Keys was going to just go off and do developmental or something. Well, that is not what happened. In this match, Junior and Suicide Kid ended up losing, and I don't agree with that stuff. The kid can sim sometimes, but he's also very good at stiffing the crap out of somebody. So then I made this cool little breakdown Rumble graphic, which took me like forever because I was putting black shit behind everything to do it. And we were trying to hide people that weren't in it. And we were trying to do all these cool things. And we got this audible out of nowhere, right, from Phoenix, from Nitro, and Frankie Flo. It wasn't Frankie Flo at the time. It was, I'm going to say their names wrong. But they were like brothers or something. They wanted to start a singles feud with each other, so the first two entrants in the Rumble got eliminated. Well, so then we skip ahead in the Rumble a little bit here. And in this right here, what you're seeing Justin Frost. That was a character that Sinister Smiles made as for anybody to play as. We had Damian Gamer return, which was just a random character we made. Damian Wallace on the far right, that was me. And then El Tigre Ferros, which was another character that Sinister Smiles made. He made us a lot of these filler characters to help out. So then we're gonna get to this point right here. I don't know if I can do this or not. I'm gonna see if it'll let me do it, but it might not let me, guys. I don't know. But if I, yeah, I'm too lazy to do it. The guy in the blue, or the black trunks with the blue design and the blue boots and stuff, that was Landon Sane. Okay, this guy right here was the cause of everything. And the worst part is, this character was Semiraro's brother, Dan. Now, mind you, the plan was in the Rumble, I wanted this rookie to get eliminated as soon as he got in, right? And then I was going to, as Billings on commentary, I was going to say, thanks for coming, right? But we ended up using that line on James instead, or on James Braden instead. So instead of the direction I wanted it to go, Semiraro wanted it to go in the direction of his brother going through everybody in the Rumble. That's pretty much how it all happened, right? We saw his character outlast everybody else. And this part of it, okay. So we're going to freeze it right here because this was a very important part of the Rumble. Now we're going to go from left to right again. So Lance Owens on your left, still around. He's one of my filler characters. Darius Kides is who I was squaring off with. Kides was to eliminate me, but I was playing as Kides. He wasn't online or whatever. And so then we had Landon Saint up there. That was Semi. Saint was with Semi there. Then down in the corner we've got Titan, Alex McNabb, Monster fan. And we have Dan. Dan eliminated Titan, although he wasn't supposed to. He eliminated him. He eliminated him. He wasn't supposed to. The original thing was we were going to do the final 6. At this time, Dan's character, Landon Sane, was already supposed to be eliminated. He was not supposed to be anywhere. Anywhere at all, right? Nowhere. He was supposed to be nowhere. He was there. Well, then, another thing that made people upset, I got to find it real quick. The final, as you see, his attire changed. Something totally different. Totally different outfit. He completely changed it while we were recording the Rumble, and I think my shit just froze. Oh, nope. Oh, I went too far, that's why. Oh, no, I didn't. I didn't go too far. That's okay. So this guy right here, I like seeing that. That's just beast. But so Craig Hazard comes out. I'm trying to get my thing to go. Okay. So somehow Explicit took the role of Jordan Moore, and we swapped Extreme's entrant position. We changed his position, made him enter at a completely different time because we were trying to fix, Junior. I was trying to fix everything, make it all still perceivable the right way. So we were trying to separate Craig Hazard and Monroe off together, but Monroe was not in this matchup, so it was really tough, right? So later on in the match, Monroe gets eliminated by the Landon Sane character, right? He gets eliminated. I was playing as Hazard at this point. Or no, I was Monroe. Hazard was Hazard at this point. Semi, I think, was... Or no, Dan was playing as himself right here. He eliminated Monroe, right? This is not the original ending. This is not how it was supposed to end at all. And Dan was horrible at any type of simulating, simulating any type of simulation style of it. So I don't know. I don't want to say the Rumble was where Semi said, as you see here, it says I've been defeated because I was playing as Monroe, right? Because I feel that Monroe's character cannot be re-uploaded. Well, on YouTube, right, some of the comments, right, I can understand your frustration. Believe me, I can understand your frustration. And, but the thing was, Semi went on there and he commented, he goes, people need to realize that the Rumble was not simmed. We let people go out there and earn their shot. We set the order in the order of the most deserving to the least, unless asked otherwise. Lindell legitimately got those eliminations and legitimately made it to the final 2. Just because his call isn't super impressive, he managed to win up to that point. Had Monroe been in the match, I would have advocated for a Monroe versus Hazard finale, but that just was not the case. And of course, at the time, there was no plan on TPP not doing anything, right? I had planned on continuing to do it. I was like, we'll make it work, I guess. I knew that we were going to get slack for it, right? I knew that it was going to be negative, and I knew that it was going to be bad for us, possibly in the long run. But I was willing to take this gamble. We were doing very well, and it just kind of the way everything happened. And even though at the ending, Hazard won the Rumble, the Samararo versus Sabbath title match. I mean, yeah, it was a spectacular match. The way that everything we did, but we all thought that Samararo was going to lose, right? We all thought this at the pay-per-view. We were like, oh yeah, Samararo's going to lose the title, and he'll like go back into contention or whatever. Well, he ended up winning. He did this whole swerve thing where made him think that TCO was working with him, and then he T-boned him. You can all go back and watch the Rumble in its entirety if you want. I'm just kind of giving you the thing. And then so everybody's going, well, what does this actually have to do with, what happened with Samararo? Like I said, he was literally politicianing himself. He was putting himself in a position where he was holding all the gold. At this point in time, his alternate character, Landon Sane, holding gold. His main character, holding gold. And his good buddy Explicit was also holding gold. That was the thing. They were the two champions of the power plant, right? And we had 4 total titles, or 3. We had the tag team titles, TPP title, and international title. They held all that, And I was just kind of like, I was trying to be this understanding guy, like, oh yeah, it's good for the show. It'll be good for the show. Help build these storylines, build these new characters. Unfortunately, Samararo's, train of thought was consistent of his, and his, and that was it. There was really no way around it. Whether you were a good guy, bad guy, and of course we saw Samararo win by way of pinfall, doing his thing to T-Bone to James Braden. And so this was the final scene that everybody saw at Breakdown. They saw Zack Samararo standing there, title over his shoulder. Oh yeah, I'm the champ, yay. Well, that's what I think of that. Nice black screen. Because the Rumble's this matchup's still going on. I know it's going to look kind of weird because I just drug it across my screen. But, so that's the thing. Like, I took a lot of the blame. Actually, I took all the blame for the Rumble. Like, I took all of it. Nobody can say that they took blame for it. I took everything for the Breakdown Rumble. I wanted to do the next show. I wanted to keep the show going. The whole, I want to focus on the money thing, that was just kind of a bullshit excuse. It was just an easy out. And unfortunately, everybody just kind of jumped on that hate train for me, which is fine. I'm not mad. And, it is what it is. But at that point, after the Rumble, I knew that we were fucked. We were so effed up. Because the week before, as you see, the score is 11-6, Bret Hart winning. But we were so screwed. Because the week before Breakdown, we had Explicit beat Saint, right? And we were at this point we were doing 2 shows. We were doing Redemption and we were going to do Frontline. So Samararo was going to run Frontline, and I was going to run, or Samararo was going to run Redemption. I was going to run Frontline, and I was like, well, okay, yeah, sure. And well, he made Saint lose to Explicit the week before Breakdown, right? For positioning in the Rumble. That was what we said on commentary, I believe. So then, on the first Redemption show, or the draft show, we were going to have Saint beat Samararo for the TPP title. And I was like, so he can't beat the international champion, but he can beat the TPP champion. And the thing is, one thing I'm really good at doing is putting somebody on a hot streak. Now, Samararo, not so much. He could be like, oh yeah, we'll have so-and-so win. So that would have been the first match that Samararo was going to win. But then he was supposed to win the title back, I think, like the next week or 2 weeks later or something like that, right before the next pay-per-view. So it was going to be a very short title run for Saint. A very short one. And it was unfortunate because it could have been something really good. And so I told Samararo, I was like, you know what? You should upload that show of Redemption. Because we did all the matches. Everything was recorded, just had to do the voiceovers. And just the commentary. That was it. That's all we had to do. Then the show would have been done. Everything would have been taken care of. Well, Samararo didn't want to upload it. And as long as I've been doing this, the only time you don't want to upload something is because you lost. That's the only time. I wanted that show to go up. There was some good matches on it, and I thought that it was worth, the people watching. And who knows? We could have kept the show going, right? Worst case scenario, Samararo would have quit. He'd have been like, you know what, I'm not feeling it, which would have been fine. But I took all the heat, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. So for everybody who gave me shit and slack about the Rumble, fuck you. Because I tried my best to keep everything in perspective. The people I wanted to win did not win. The people that were supposed to win did not win. Like I said, it was supposed to come down to Monroe versus Hazard. That was supposed to be the final. They were supposed to be the final two in the Rumble, not Hazard and Lindell. That was not the plan. I didn't plan that. My plan was to have the final four be Extreme, Jordan, Monroe, and Hazard. That was my plan. Those were the final four. I'm sorry that some people had some pull in the power plant. I gave them an inch and they took a mile. I'm sorry, but don't sit there and blindly try to spread some hate bullshit about me. And it's because of your disdain or whatever for me that all of a sudden people fucking can't stand me now. You know what I say to that? Kiss my ass. Because I didn't do a goddamn thing to you. If anything, I was helping you out by putting you on my show, Monroe. I was helping you out, dude. But hey, it's okay. Because there's always got to be a scapegoat. There's always got to be somebody to blame. And unfortunately for me, I get stuck being the person to blame. It's unfortunate, but it does happen. It's something that I've learned to deal with because there's a lot of people that I put up with that just, try to insult me. And so I'll say these are my. I'm not the only Seth, aren't you? So this is my closing statements here. Okay. Now, I've seen, as you saw, just from the Breakdown Rumble itself, Monroe was on there. I've worked with Shane Silver. I've worked with Blaze. I've worked with AC Arthurs. Hell, I was the first one that ever turned AC Arthurs into a heel when I had him put BRICKWALL through a glass window. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And we were the first league that gave AC Arthurs that really big push. I mean, yeah, no doubt about it, that kid blew up. He blew up in TXW. He got so big, and I'm so glad to say that, that I got to work with him. I'm so glad I got to do that whole TCO and the Click storyline. That was so fun. It really was. And I hope that whatever he ends up doing, like after, I wish that his circumstances were different, for things that go on in his real life outside of his character life. But, that kid's gold. I think everybody knows that. I knew that when I first saw him. And the person who saw him before anybody else was a person that got alienated out of the power plant. That was Styles. People started hating on Styles, right? Because he whines a lot. He whines. But he was like, DieHard, he's like, we got to get this Arthurs guy. And I was like, he kind of looks generic. And I saw him do a match, and I was like, okay, yeah, we need this guy. And that's how it happened, right? That's how we got Arthurs. And then, Blaze and Hazard, they were right place, right time. It was just circumstance for that one. And it's a circumstance that if I could go back and redo, I'd redo it. Because I had a blast working with those guys, right? I had a blast working with them. And would I do it now, though? No. Because, I could have some good matches with them. But, Kevin the Kid, KDK, thinks I can't sim for shit. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Right? That's what he said. Again, from my anonymous source. But but yeah, so everybody has haters, right? And I know that this podcast a little bit longer than an hour. And it's a little bit a different direction than what I normally take when I do the podcast, but with good reason. Because now I feel very productive. I feel like if I was to, go try to record a show right now, I could probably get that whole show done in one day. I get every match recorded. I start on the editing, everything. I could get it all done today. Because it's so alleviating to get the shit off your chest, to, finally get to say what's really bothering you, what's on your mind. And the worst part is I've been carrying this Rumble shit around for 7 months, almost 8 months now. I've been carrying it around. It's been, riding on my shoulders with the TPP stuff. So yeah, Devin Sherpa, the next time you want to say that I'm not important, again, I was working with those important people before you were even an afterthought, and I got to take this phone call real quick. Or, well, maybe I don't. Unless my lovely wife answered it. Okay, yeah. Anyways, so my phone battery was dying evidently. But like I was saying, I mean, I've worked with all those people before you even knew that they existed, before you knew what they were capable of. I was working with them then. I mean, for Christ's sakes, I was in AOW with all of them. Even that rambling panda guy. I love that rambling panda thing because pandas are becoming extinct. I should have put that as a hashtag, but yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed. This Rumble is winding down, or I keep saying Rumble because it's so alleviating to get this off my chest. I think the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be is going to win this Iron Man. I mean, he's up 14-8, and I just don't think Shawn Michaels is going to win. I don't think the Heartbreak Kid's going to make a comeback here, but yeah, so to everybody who's a hater and all this stuff, and if you stayed with me this long, you deserve a cookie, But like I said, it's good to get all that shit off your chest, to just let it out there. Because like I said, I mean, I've been taking the pot shots and the heat for that breakdown Rumble. That show was the show that ruined TPP. That was the show, right? Because I didn't have Monroe win. Although originally I was pulling for Monroe to win. Like, I started talking about the Rumble stuff like 2 months before we even did it. I was like, I think we should have Monroe be at least in the final 2. So in that sense, I mean, he got down to the final 3. I mean, not exactly the final 2 like I had originally pulled for. And yeah, I run the power plant. I should have put my foot down and be like, no, we need to stick to the original plan. Yeah, that was my fault for letting the show go up like it did. That is my fault. But again, I had people politicking constantly in the parties, and Samuraro, he was really good at rallying support from the TPP guys, saying, "Oh, we should do this, we should do that, we should do this." It's just the way it is. But when like to Frankie Flo, I've got no personal issue with you, guy, like none. But seriously, man, Cody, like, I saw your PWR app, and you couldn't even have mentioned that you worked in TPP. It was all NGC. That didn't happen, right? Come on now. You don't got to be an asshole like that. So if you were ever wondering why you actually got let go, that was kind of why. It wasn't just because of that. I mean, it was because you weren't showing up as well, but that was kind of the helping with the deciding factor. So I hope that tonight you all got a kind of a deeper look into my psyche and how I do things, and why I do the things I do. I mean, I didn't want to wow, this is completely back and forth here between the computer, like oh my god, they keep countering each other's pins. But again, not everything that gets done is done to spite people or anything like that. I don't go out of my way to try to sabotage somebody's wrestling career or their CAW career. I don't go out of my way to do that. I don't try to make them hate being in the power plant. And so for those of you that do know me, spread the love. Don't spread hate. Spread love, or at least something nice. Say one nice thing about somebody you don't like once a day, and you'll feel better. Because as much as I don't like Monroe, he can wrestle. That's good. He can wrestle. I don't like him, but he can wrestle. And as you see, this matchup is winding down. The final 20 seconds. Shawn Michaels 9, Bret Hart 14. Again, I think the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be clearly won this. 10 seconds remaining. Yeah. There's no way Michaels can get 5 pinfalls in a matter of moments. But, boom! Big fist drop thingy. But yeah, guys, so thanks for joining me tonight. And I hope next week we got a couple of special guests, I'm hoping. And I'm hoping you'll all still come back on next week, too, because I hope that this didn't scare you off. But if it did, I understand. I understand that you just can't handle the diehard truth. And not everybody is capable of doing that. You know, not everybody can take truth when it's staring them right in the face. So again, thank you for joining me tonight, and I'll see you guys later while this thing is doing its little post-match wrap-up dealio. So thanks again for joining me, guys. I am DieHard, and don't forget, TPP Frontline. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m., same channel right here on Twitch. So I'll see you guys later.